It's time to turn up the volume that little bit louder.
That's right. Say hello, Car Throttle fans, to the Honda CRZ Mugen. Now, many of you may have seen Adnan here take the standard CRZ to the beach late last year, but what Honda have done is lost weight and added finesse. They fiddled with the electrics, shoved a supercharger up its ass, and Adnan, isn't it a looker?
Yeah, that's right. Everything from the carbon fibre hood to the super sticky in the dry tyres. I mean, how are we going to cope in the wet today?
These aren't so much tyres as painted onto the alloys.
That's
I
true.
think out there, and it's pretty wet today, this is either going to go very well or we're going to need the NHS support at some point.
I don't fancy ending today being wrapped around a tree, but if it means I'm going out in style, well, let's just do it.
I think at the end of the day, God will be proud that you went to heaven on fire and smiling. Let's go.
No, that's not good news.
Oh no! Good to go, all the best.
All right, thanks.
Have a good one.
Cheers.
See ya.
So, Adnan, we've just set up in the Mugen. Not the most reliable of starts to a Car Throttle review, is it?
No, I was going to say, in fact, it actually took me by surprise. This car just didn't start when we ticked it over.
What was the problem?
Flat battery.
Which in a hybrid is a little bit, I wouldn't say disappointing, it's a little bit unfortunate.
Well, Mick, the AA man, did say that the way this car is set up is that the charge itself is run off the main battery, whereas the hybrid doesn't kick in until a bit later, which I always thought was a bit odd. Surely the hybrid should power the whole system.
But should we be expecting that from Mugen, which has taken the CRZ and has fiddled about with it? Should we expect a little bit less reliability?
Yeah, probably, actually, having said that. I mean, to be honest, as a total package, they've done a pretty good job. I mean, we're just starting off just now, and already it's a harsh ride, but you're feeling like you're inside a track car.
You feel involved. I mean, with so many of these cars now, the new generation of super hot hatches, I'm thinking Scirocco R, Regane Menno Sport 250 Cup, they feel a little bit disinvolved. You don't feel like you're doing the driving. Whereas I'd imagine in this, you're feeling the bumps.
But you also feel properly involved. I mean, one of the main critiques that we have is the steering and the lack of feel-through steering on modern cars, because they're all these electric systems. With this, okay, it might be electrically assisted, but you're feeling everything through the road, and it's very twitchy as well. I mean, we're in normal mode, and there are 3 modes of driving: normal, economy, and sport.
And that's the same as a standard CRZ, isn't it?
That's right. And what we're going to do now is put it in sport and see what happens, and you can sort of feel it start to pull away.
You can feel the acceleration immediately.
The supercharged induction kit winding it all the way up to 6,000.
I'm being pushed back into the Recaro seats now, which I must say are doing a great job. And wow.
Coming up to around right now, you can feel the bumps. That was it. The next thing I was going to touch on.
Yeah, the ride is very firm. But you can argue that you would expect that from a car like this.
Exactly, and that's the thing with this car. It's not meant to be a family cruiser. It's meant to be for your young lads who want to get away from that image of just like these very nice, well-rounded cars, something a bit more aggressive, something a bit more rough.
But given its reliability, you've got to make sure your car is running if you're going to go out and try and pick up some girls.
True. So
your cars can't be in the garage all of the time.
I was going to say, and here's another issue. These Recaro seats, they're bloody great for sitting in, but trying to get out of them.
It's not a dignified look, is it?
Is there a correct method of getting out of Recaro seats?
I would say if you're a girl, just don't get in the first place.
Don't wear a skirt.
But what I like as well is back there, did you see the chap looking at us out of his window?
You see that? That's the traction control really cutting in early there. And,
you can see how on a long journey, this would be just epic.
You're going to get, as you said, the looks part. I mean, the issue is, are we just getting looks from lads? I want to get some looks from the ladies.
I think we're getting looks from older people who think this is 2 lads driving a very nice car. You almost want to lean out the window and go, it's not stolen!
True.
Honest!
Yeah, because
it's got that look.
It is, you do drive it like you've just stolen it as well. I mean, put it in sport, 0 to 62 in 6.1 seconds, 200 horsepower, and the noise out of that car, and it's still only a 1.5 litre engine. It's just...
And we've got to remember, this is 50 kilos lighter than the standard CRZ. So all the carbon fibre Mugen have added the carbon fibre bonnet. We've got some carbon fibre in the engine bay. It all adds up. I mean, 50 kilos is the same as having a live pig in the back.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And the acceleration is fantastic. It pushes you back in the seat.
The car just pulls, and what's great is that the brakes are also pretty good. I mean, they've upgraded the brakes of the standard CRZ. On the wet, it's a little bit disconcerting with these tyres. I mean, they are...
Well, we were saying about the tyres just being sort of painted on the wheels, they're that thin. but I think they're doing a fantastic job, especially in the wet. I can only imagine what this would be like on the track.
What about the sound system, Dan? That's a good point. The sound system is really good, but
Let's just let it rumble a bit.
do you want a sound system when you've got that out of the back?
Give me a minute.
It is.
Oh, it's
such
just
a great
fantastic. You don't even, all of this stereo is irrelevant. You've just got the best sound system in the world.
Noise. And you just still can't believe this coming out of some small 1.5 litre
I mean, I've got a Ford Focus with a 1.6 engine. It doesn't perform like this.
No, and guess what? It's a hybrid. So that means that you're getting 30 miles to the gallon, and in your mind, you can be sort of eco tree hugger.
And in the past, I mean, hybrids were treated as not very cool, not very stylish. I think Mugen have done a great job. They're changing the hybrid reputation, and they're aiming for a younger market.
And price-wise, this is £23,000.
You know, when Honda were designing this car, or when Mugen, they were in discussion with Mugen, they said they didn't want to make it expensive. There was no point in making an expensive CRZ because the target market, you and me, would never be able to afford it.
No.
There'd just be no point. So I love the fact they've listened to the market. They know what we wanted.
Exactly.
And they've delivered as well. That's the most important.
So overall, Darren, the verdict for me, it's got to be a yes. I love this car, and
It's
it
gotta
just
be a
looks
yes.
super cool.
It's super cool, it's stylish, it's fast, and overall, it's fun. Do you feel like a better driver?
I might not be a great driver, but this makes me feel like a damn good driver. And at the end of the day, I just want a car that will stroke my ego. So Darren, we've had a quick burst in the CRZ Mugen. What are your thoughts?
I think it's fantastic. I think it makes you feel like a better driver, and that's all a car like this has got to do. Styling-wise, what are your impressions?
It's certainly loud, it's very leery, it's got that rear spoiler, it's still got that rude boy look. I was getting some looks on the road and I don't know whether they wanted the car or whether they wanted to knock me out.
I think that's certainly a risk, but with the standard CRZ, I thought the designs just got to the back end and then just stopped. I think having the spoiler, having the little extra flourishes, I think that makes a car like that, and I think that's what makes this car successful. But do you think it'll build? Do you think it'll sell?
I don't know, personally, I don't think it's going to sell. I mean, it's 23 grand and that's a decent price, but really, it's a two-seat car. It's meant only for two people. It's going to appeal to only young lads. Can they afford a £22,000 two-seater car, which only gets 29 miles to the gallon?
This is where I'm going to disagree with you, because £23,000...
Controversial.
Controversial, but £23,000 is just a few grand more than the highest spec standard CRZ. Yes, you lose the two back seats, but let's be honest, you couldn't fit anybody in them anyway, not unless they had no legs.
True.
Or, you know, were just very short.
I think they call them flids.
Flids?
Yeah.
Well, that's something we've learned today. But with a car like that, I think people will be able to afford it. I think there are enough people out there to make it a success for Honda. And frankly, if you've got close to 23k and you're not considering buying one of these, you're insane.
Yes or no?
It's a definite yes from me.
And it's a yes from me as well. And a total pimped out rating. On the outside?
On the outside, 9. Inside, I think it retains a little bit too much of the original CRZ, so I'll drop it down to a 7.
Cool. Sound system, we didn't have a chance to bang out any tunes, unfortunately.
I don't think you'd need it with an exhaust note like that. On a long journey, on the right road, in the right style, I think it's fantastic.
But you're not going to want to listen to Magic 105.4, are we, Moss?
No, absolutely not. Crack on some of that exhaust note instead. In fact, just burn a CD of that exhaust note and put it in any old car.
That's very true. So on that note, CRZ Mugen, it's a double yes. And what better way to finish it off than sitting under a nice rainy tree.
On a wet bench.
On a wet bench.